Hi there, I'm Megan from Penguin Random House, and I'm here talking with the amazing TJ Alexander, author of A Lady for All Seasons.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Excited to chat with you. So before we start, can you tell us a little bit about the book and when and where people can grab it?
Yeah, so A Lady for All Seasons is the sequel to last year's A Gentleman's Gentleman, and it follows the story of Verbena Montrose, who is desperately in need of a husband to save her and her family from financial ruin. But instead of finding a husband, she finds a very cool and interesting gender fluid poetess, which throws a wrench in her plans.
An amazing elevator pitch. I'm
Thank
so
you.
hooked. I'm ready to go. I feel like we have both potentially been loving this trend we've been seeing lately in historical romance, specifically of queering the genre, queering the historical romance genre.
Yeah.
So I'd love to hear you talk a little bit more about the inspiration behind queering the genre with both of these books, and how you sort of approached that.
Yeah. I mean, from my perspective, like, the genre's already queer. It came prepackaged. Like, when you think about the Regency, like, setting and how strict everything was and how etiquette and the way that you presented yourself, your reputation, how heightened that all was in that era. To me, that's like a perfect one-to-one allegory for like the transgender and non-binary experience. Like the emphasis on, how you're dressing, how you're presenting yourself in society. And if you make a misstep, like your life could be ruined. You could be like over. Very similar to personal experiences. So yeah, I think that to me it just made sense to set a queer love stories in this era, and I couldn't believe that we don't have like 1,000 of them. We need 1,000 of them, please.
And slowly but surely you are writing them, is what I'm hearing.
One by one.
2 down.
Yeah.
So, as you mentioned, one of the main characters in A Lady for All Seasons is gender fluid,
Yes.
and they present with different, pronouns and names in different scenes throughout the book. So, in your writing process, how did you approach that? How did you work to balance all of that in order to make sure that all of the characters and all of the personalities were represented in each scene exactly as you wanted them to be?
Yeah, I knew that I wanted to give Verbena a love interest that was as challenging as she is. That, not just challenging to society, but challenging her and her worldview. And the character of Flora, who also goes by William, shows up in her life and is just a kind of person that Verbena has never met before. Like somebody who is doing it for themselves and not for the dance, for the whole rigmarole of high society. And in constructing that character, I was really nervous because there isn't a whole lot of non-binary and gender fluid representation in the romance genre, period, let alone historical romance. And so when the number is small, each one really counts, I feel. So I wanted to be cognizant of, like, people who hadn't maybe seen themselves in a book before. This might be their first chance to do that. And how can I make that more welcoming to them? How can I make this more specific in a way that isn't like trying to be everything to everyone, but making this character his own, personality, his own life, his own lived in reality. So giving Florida her interiority and giving her this backstory that I wouldn't say is tragic, but just like, to me, interesting, and mirrored a lot of my own personal experiences. And yeah, she just ended up being this character that I hope a lot of people can vibe with, even if you're not gender fluid. I think that there are a lot of things that he goes through that anyone who is struggling, especially in the arts, to make a living might, see themselves in.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. So I feel like, we're speaking about historical romance. We can't avoid the Bridgerton of it all.
The who?
The Bridgerton of it all. The Lady Bridgerton.
Yes.
The very exciting Netflix show. So how much has Bridgerton inspired you? Has it motivated you to want to queer the genre more? Or have you avoided it entirely because this is completely separate?
I watched the first season when it first came out. I think I was done drafting A Gentleman's Gentleman by the time it aired. I'm not exactly sure. But I remember enjoying it. I remember thinking it was fun, but I also like didn't return to it at all. In fact, I like when they asked me to come in and talk to you and they were like, "But you have caught up on Bridgerton." I was like, "Oh, it's still like I knew it was like a long-running show. I had no idea it was like still going." And I did recently catch up on the first like few episodes of the newest season. And because people had been telling me like, "I think you'll think it's interesting. I think, they're really pushing the envelope now." And yeah, it was fun. I love like the campiness that we sometimes see in it. I love Lady Danbury. She's my favorite. If I could just watch an entire miniseries of her, I would be the happiest clam in the bucket.
Yeah, seconded. 100%. Did it have any sort of, did you have any voice in the back of your head as you're watching Bridgerton that had some of your world in it? Were you doing any comparing and contrasting, or do you very much see them as like completely separate?
I mean, I think that it's always interesting to see what other people are doing in the historical romance genre and that in any kind of media. I think that I try not to compare what I'm doing in my books to the stories that are being told to a more general audience, right? This is a very commercial show, and it's a fun show that it's appealing to a really wide audience, and there's nothing wrong with that. Some of my best friends are straight. And, it's not that I don't expect or want straight people to pick up my books, but I'm telling my stories through a lens that I think is a little bit different than what you're going to see on a streaming service like Netflix. And that's fine. There's room on the shelf and in the streaming database for so many of these stories. I think that romance is, despite, the obituaries already being printed, still like very much alive and very much has an audience. And I think Bridgerton proves that. So I welcome it into the little tea party that we're all having.
I love that. And I hope that it brings, as you said, other audiences to maybe your books when they're looking to scratch that Bridgerton itch and they find something amazing and gay and also historical.
That would be wonderful.
So I remember when discussing your last book, A Gentleman's Gentleman, you made a comment at a book event that I attended about some historical inaccuracies that survived to the final draft that you just sort of let sit because they were true to the character and true to the story you were trying to write.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear a little bit more about how you decide what anachronisms to leave in and which to be a little bit more true to the history, and if there is any sort of decision making in that process or if it's just vibes.
It started out, drafting is always just vibes.
Yeah.
Drafting can never be more than just vibes or else it's never going to get done. But once you get to the different editorial stages of that project, you do start to have to make decisions because very smart people, your editors and your copy editors and first readers will start pointing things out to you that trains weren't invented, so no one was saying anything was on track, for example. It's really hard to excise train language out of my vocabulary. So yeah, you do have to start making decisions. And for A Gentleman's Gentleman and continuing on with A Lady for All Seasons, my process was the bit first. Like, the story has to come first at all costs. Now, normally, you can still play around with things and still have the bit survive in the way that you want. So it's usually not like a huge deal breaker. But the bit, if it comes down to it, first and foremost. And then secondly, I think the second most important thing is clarity. Like, if the reader can't understand what I'm talking about, it doesn't matter how historically accurate it is because they don't understand what's going on the page. If I'm mentioning something that is so outside the realm of modern readers' understanding, then I either have to explain it or forget about it. And if it's not that important, then it can be left out. And then is historical accuracy. Okay. And most of the time, I would say 99% of the time in these two books, I could manage all three. In just a handful of instances, it was like, oh, well, we got to make a decision. Readers are going to be confused if we do it this way, and if we do it that way, it's not really accurate. So, and that, I think, level of prioritization really helped me through these books.
Amazing. I love that very professional answer that essentially was commit to the bit.
Yeah. No, honestly though, truly, if you're not committing to the bit, then what are you doing? You're just writing a textbook, and that's not what I'm doing.
It's certainly not what you're doing. You have such a rich cast and colorful cast of characters in both of these books, and especially in Lady for All Seasons. It's a bit of an ensemble cast of a lot of very fun personalities. They're so vibrant and funny in their own right and together.
Yeah.
So what characters within either of your books do you feel like you relate to most? Was there any of you in all these characters a little bit mixed in, or any of them that you feel, very strongly connected to?
I mean, I think might surprise people to hear that instead of the main characters, I connect most with the background characters most of all. I would hate to be a main character in a story, you know what I mean? I would much prefer to be sort of on the sidelines being like, what is happening with them, And for that reason, I really loved bringing Etienne back for this book. He was a side character in A Gentleman's Gentleman. He was like the lead's best friend, and to bring him back to play a role that goes from one sort of, expected sidekick role to having his own mini arc. Even though it's all happening in the background, and not to spoil anything, I think it's very funny. I think it's very funny when our main heroes are just embroiled in the angst and the drama and the yearning and the tragedy, and then someone else is in the background having a different book happen to him. I always think it's very funny. So I was so glad that Etienne found a place in this one.
I mean, I agree, and I really enjoyed a lot of being able to come in and out of his story and see that clearly a very significant night has happened for him, and our main characters have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
And getting a little bit of that, I feel like, is so fun to see. Like you said, the background characters have their own complete arcs.
Yeah.
Were any of them the most fun to write, would you say?
I'm gonna get letters from the internet. Lord Byron is appearing in this novel, and he started out as a joke. I meant to have him be like a cameo in one scene, maybe just a passing, just for the English majors in the audience, a little fun reference to a historical figure from real life. And the more the story progressed and the harder I worked on it, the more I was like, where's Lord Byron? Can we bring Byron back into this scene? I feel like Byron could add something to this scene. He is so fun to write because, it's a fictionalized version of him, obviously. I'm not trying to write his biography or anything. But just having a character that is capable of doing and saying anything at any moment and is just chaos personified is so helpful in a narrative. The minute you get stuck, you're like, bring him in. Bring him in. He'll say or do something to get people moving. Yeah. And it worked every time. He was logistically a perfect fulcrum, for everything. And he was also just his dialogue to me is very fun. It's always fun for me to write a rake. They're just I love a slut. Can I say that on here?
Heard it here first. Excuse me. You jumped ahead to one of my questions about Lord Byron.
Sorry.
So very exciting. One of the descriptions that you have shared about this book is Lord Byron is also there.
He's also there.
I think that's fundamentally incorrect. He's there quite a bit.
He's
there not just
lot.
Also there. He's actually an integral character in a couple of scenes. There's a lot of places where you've brought him in from the wings, and decisions that he's made or actions that he's taken have changed the course of the plot.
Yeah.
Was that always something you planned, or
No.
was he just sort of always there?
In the outline, he was a bare, just one sentence of and Lord Byron's here for a fun little comedy moment, and then we can move on. And yeah, to have the force of a personality like that introduced into a narrative, he can't just exit after one, peace out, and then he's gone. Authors like to talk about how the characters are speaking to you. It's not me in charge. It's all very mystical and stuff. I don't normally believe that. But then Lord Byron happened to me, and now I'm like, dang, I guess, yeah, it's an intoxicating feeling to get a character under your belt that you can just pull out at a moment's notice and be like, he's got this. He can make this move on. He can get things rolling. And also it was just for me personally, it was fun to go from someone who hated Lord Byron. And I mean, he's not a nice person. Look, who is? But just being very much anti him my entire life, and then having the experience of telling a little bit of a fun story that he got to, show some vulnerability and come into his own little personal growth moment to serve this story. I mean, I think that that's like what historical fiction is all about, taking the things that mean something to you from the past and using them in a way to give the modern reader, like, here's some meaning that maybe we haven't considered. Here's something that, like, art can show you. And, like, who better to do that than the guy who, like, invented romantic poetry,
I love that you were possessed by the ghost of Lord Byron for this. I feel like that's excellent for this book. And definitely, if that doesn't convince people to read the book, I don't know what will. So
I probably should mention, I don't know if he invented anything. I don't want letters.
That's true.
I don't want letters.
Well, let's not give him too much credit.
Let's never give him credit.
And move from the capital R romance to lowercase r potentially. But your books are chock full of delightful romance genre tropes.
Thank you.
They're so fun. I feel like you have so much fun playing with them and writing them, but you also have fun subverting them. So how do you decide what you want to stay loyal to within sort of the conventions of the genre and what you want to flip on its head?
Yeah, I think especially earlier in my writing life, like A Gentleman's Gentleman was only the second book I'd ever written.
Wow. And
I knew that I wanted to twist certain things that the historical genre normally would expect. But I also, like, love this genre and wanted to, like, honor the things that I liked about it. So in that book, I think I was really focused on what about this could be boring to me personally and what would I find personally interesting to see instead. And I think for A Lady for All Seasons, I really wanted to focus on pushing myself to make a really complicated, like, interweaving storylines where, there are secrets and lies and certain characters don't know things at certain moments, and that's going to change the chemistry of everything that's happening. And to keep track of all those plates sort of spinning in the air was a really fun challenge. And it was also important while doing that to recognize, okay, which of these plates have we seen before in, like, ways that maybe, we could play around a little bit. How can we, give this plate a new color, a new shape? And just sort of, just playing around with the conventions of the genre, I think is, like, really important, just, like, from a creative point of view. It's important to me. But I think it's like, this is a genre where readers are really voracious. There are some historical romance readers that read, hundreds of books a year. And I want to give them a little gift of, like, maybe you haven't seen this sort of take on this before, and maybe you would expect it to go this way. And I want you to be, like, delighted and surprised when it doesn't. That's like, I don't know, that's like magic.
The magic of reading.
The magic.
Amazing. I have one last bonus question for you.
Okay.
Tell us something about the book that won't make sense until after someone reads it.
Okay.
Putting you on the spot for this one, but I couldn't resist.
It's just such on the spot. The drag is historically accurate.
I love that. No prep needed. You had that one ready to go.
It's always in the holster.
So now we have a fun little game to play. This game is called Gothic Heroine or 90s Pop Song. So I'm going to read a quote, and you get to guess if it is a quote, a lyric from a 90s pop song, or a quote from a Gothic or a Regency heroine.
All right.
You ready?
Yes.
Okay. I cannot live without my life. I cannot live without my soul.
That feels Gothic to me.
You're correct. That is Emily Bronte, Wuthering Heights.
Yes.
You were always the mysterious one with dark eyes and careless hair.
That's Madonna. Is that Madonna?
You want to try one more time? You're not wrong, but you're not right.
Fine, Frankenstein.
It's actually Jewel.
Jewel. Oh,
Foolish
I love
Games.
Jewel. I do love Jewel. Don't tell the internet I didn't know it was Jewel.
We'll cut that part. Yeah, definitely.
Don't cut it.
I am half agony, half hope.
Okay, well, that's a Gothic heroine.
Yes, correct.
well, actually, it's a hero, is it not?
What's your full answer?
You know, the guy, shirt, wet. Colin Firth.
Close.
No.
It's Persuasion.
Damn. Okay.
Persuasion, Jane Austen.
Got it. I've heard of her.
A little unknown author.
Yeah.
I am no bird and no net ensnares me.
That's Madonna. Please tell me one of these is Madonna.
That's actually Jane Eyre.
Jane Eyre, are you kidding me? No, that was off Ray of Hope.
Madonna, Jane Eyre, same thing. Same thing. I should have seen just what was there and not some holy light.
I can't guess Madonna again. Is the thing. But this time it could be Madonna. No, it can't be Madonna. It's gotta TLC.
Ooh, I like that answer, but no.
No, they're not even like. It's I guess a pop trio. Who is it?
Natalie Imbruglia, Torn.
The song that was on 5,000 times a day when I was driving to and from high school. Okay, well.
I didn't sing it to you, to be fair. So
yes.
Would have given it away a little.
If you could sing these, that would be
great. Yeah, okay, great. It's not cheating at all. My body aches to breathe your breath.
That's so gross. Post-pandemic grossness. Oh, God. I want to say Gothic. Yeah, I'm going to say Gothic.
Sarah McLachlan.
Sarah McLachlan?
Yes.
Can the lesbians please not come for me? I just shouted into the microphone so loud.
Shout lesbians louder into the microphone, TJ,
lesbians,
please.
I'm so sorry. Lesbians, don't hate me, lesbians, please.
Let's go, lesbians. If I could but know his heart, everything would become easy.
But know his heart makes me think it's old-timey. Like, no one is rhyming like that, I don't think. Unless it's like Brandy. No.
Final answer?
No, Gothic Heroine.
Yes. Jane Austen, Sense Sensibility.
Yes.
The world was on fire and no one could save me but you.
Okay, that was, I know this band. It's not Garbage, but it was a 90s pop song. No, it's gone. I'm hearing a male singer in my voice, so now I can't.
You want to sing it through real quick?
No. How dare you? First of all, there's no way Penguin Random House can clear these rights. Second of all, the singing is not happening. But no, that's definitely a pop song.
Yes. Wicked Game, Chris Isaak.
Wicked Game. Okay. Yeah. It's been covered like 1,000 times.
Correct.
I should know that. Okay.
Okay. I'm going to do a couple more here. Is that the way we stand? Were you lying all the time? Was it just a game to you?
Just the way we stand feels modern to me. So pop song.
Yes. Linger by the Cranberries.
Cranberries. See, saying it just sounds so much different than. Okay.
I'm sorry I'm not singing along to
It's
this.
okay.
The more I see of the world, the more I am dissatisfied with it.
That's Lord Byron.
Final answer?
The best Gothic heroine. Yes.
Pride and Prejudice.
No! All right, this bitch said something really similar.
Okay, last one. How could you leave me when I needed to possess you? I hated you. I loved you too.
This could go either way.
This is kind of a trick question. I'm not going to lie.
This is such a trick. I feel like that if this is like 9 Inch Nails, I'm going to feel so bad about myself as a person and a gay person. But yeah, I feel like it's a pop song.
It is. It's Kate Bush, though, from a
Bush.
song called Wuthering Heights. So it was a trick question.
You almost got me.
I was going to let you have it either way.
Did I win? Were we keeping
won.
track? Yay!
I was definitely keeping score, and you absolutely won.
You did it.
You can't expect me to do math, TJ.
No one's doing math right
But
now.
you won. Yay!
Thank you. That was fun.
Thank you so much for chatting with me today. Congratulations on A Gentleman's Gentleman and A Lady for All Seasons. Both are available now.
Thank you.